How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and in today's video we're going to be taking this 2017 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Hard Rock off-roading and also comparing it to how my XJ did on this very same trail. So let me show you guys what we're dealing with here. So obviously it's not going to be anything crazy, and obviously right here it's just gravel, but up ahead it does get a little bit more interesting with a few rocky areas and some more mud holes. So like I said, nothing crazy, and we did take my XJ on the same exact trail back when it was completely stock, so I wanted to make this comparison video and see how this Jeep compares to my XJ. Now I also did make a different video with this Jeep right here talking about how it drives on road and comparing it to how my XJ drives on road. So if you guys haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out on my channel. Before I get a whole bunch of questions about this Jeep right here, it's actually not mine. If you guys are OGs to the channel, you've been watching for a few years, then you probably remember seeing this Jeep in a few of my off-roading videos that I've done before in the past, a few years ago. So yeah, should be a fun time with this Jeep. So just a quick walk around here with this Jeep. Like I said, it's a 2017 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Hard Rock. Basically top of the line Jeep Wrangler that you can get. 2017, so it's the last year of the JKs that they ever made. 2018 was the first year of the JLs. One thing I like about this one is that it actually came stock with LED headlights and fog lights. And we also do have these lights right here. I believe these are KC lights, and this light bar is from Oxbeam. Let me go ahead and turn those on so you guys can see what it looks like. So the switch is actually just integrated to this plastic piece right here, right next to the steering wheel. Just push that right there to turn it on. And these actually do work very well. Pretty happy with how they actually light up the road. Yeah, so I mean, super useful whenever you're off-roading at night or even driving on the road at night, if there's nobody else ahead of you so you don't blind anybody. But yeah, so stock JK right here. We do have Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires, stock size. We do have a few cosmetic things on this Jeep, like this body armor right here and this little protector for the tail light. A few other cosmetic things up front here. This actually just protects the hood portion right here, and just in case the door swings open and hits that right there. And these tow hooks are actually stock right here. So of course, super helpful to have those tow hooks, and they have those in the front and the back as well. So of course, super helpful to have those if you're going to be doing some off-roading. Let's go ahead and hop right in and we can get on the trail. All right, so one thing that I like about this Jeep right here, and some of you guys will probably agree with me, is that it is a 6-speed manual transmission. Of course, with the manual transmission, you do have a lot more control over what gear you're in. Obviously, you're in full control over the transmission. Then one thing with the Rubicon also is that you do have your sway bar quick disconnect, which is completely electronic, so you just click that button, as well as your front and rear diff lockers. So that actually comes stock on the Rubicon model, which is obviously very useful. But these features are only available when you're in 4 low. Of course, same kind of shifter handle you would have in the XJ. So you have 2 high, and you have 4 high, and then you have neutral, and then 4 low. So this is pretty much the equivalent of the NP231 that you would find in the XJ. Basically the same type of shifter pattern. So 2 high, 4 high, and then 4 low. So nothing different here. It's all manual as well, so it's not like an electronic 4-wheel drive switch. Yeah, super nice. Obviously a lot more modern than my XJ. But one thing that I will say about the JK is that it does weigh a lot more, and the XJ being around 3,400 pounds, it definitely makes a better off-road vehicle if you're focused on weight. So you can definitely build up an XJ to make it a lot better than a JK. All right, so clutch in. We got first gear right there. Let's go ahead and get on the trail here and see how much fun this thing is. See how it takes this little dip right here. Now obviously we're not going to be doing anything too crazy here. Yeah, so like I said, this isn't even like an actual off-road trail. I wouldn't really call it that, but it is a lot of fun to come here with the Jeeps. I've been here on my XJ, like I said, back when it was completely stock. So I didn't want to make this video kind of like a comparison, talk about how this JK does completely stock compared to how my XJ did completely stock. So, with my XJ, I did have all-season tires on that thing whenever I took it here. I believe they were 235s maybe. Now, like I said, this Jeep has Falcon Wild Peaks, which are all-terrain tires, and I think they're 265s maybe, 265 wide. So you know, they're not mud tires or anything. Right now I do have mud tires on my XJ, so you know, it would definitely do a whole lot better right now that it's lifted and it does have those mud tires on it as well. But this JK is definitely very capable. As of right now, I would say that it is more capable than my XJ, just because of the advantage of having those front and rear diff lockers. Also, the all-terrain tires are better for all-terrain, and then mud tires are basically only for mud. So there's definitely a lot of debate about this topic, but you know, all-terrain tires, most people say that they are better in snow and, you know, just all-terrain, and mud tires are basically specific for mud. So you know, if you compare an all-terrain tire to a mud tire in the snow, then you might be getting better results with the all-terrain tires. You know, we're gonna see how far we can get in two-wheel drive today. Just keeping it in two high the whole time, and you know, just seeing how well this thing does. So we got a few more mud puddles coming up here. And it did just rain a whole lot yesterday, so it's gonna be interesting to see how much mud and water there actually is on this trail today. We've got another hole right here. Now, I don't know if we're actually gonna be able to make it all the way up in two-wheel drive. If it was dry, then we probably would, but we'll see how slippery it is today, considering that it did just rain a whole bunch yesterday. So it should be a fun ride here. We can see all the washout here with all the leaves and gravel on the road. So see if we can make it up here in two-wheel drive. We also got a few rocks coming up there as well. Got the rocks coming up right now. Yeah, so I mean, no issues right there. All right guys, so obviously doing perfectly fine here, no issues. But I did want to show you guys this little obstacle right here. Obviously, it's not going to look too bad on camera. And, you know, it's really not that bad at all. But we can probably make it up here in two-wheel drive. But I do want to show you guys what the trail is looking here. Just give you guys a closer look at what we're dealing with. So, you know, of course, the camera isn't going to do it any justice here. But I wanted to show you guys our first, you know, little rock obstacle right here, as well as this little mud puddle here. So we're going to try to do it in two-wheel drive and see what happens. So obviously no issues whatsoever there. It was super easy for the Jeep to handle that even in two-wheel drive. Now, to be honest, it probably would have been a little bit easier to do that in four low just because of how slow I was driving. But yeah, super easy for the Jeep, no issues whatsoever here. Now, I don't know if my XJ would have been able to make it up that in two-wheel drive just because it does have open diffs. And I think the JK actually has what's called brake lock differential. So it's kind of like a diff locker, but not actually. So I think it works while your diff lockers are off, while it has an open diff. So I think the brake lock differential feature, it basically works like a diff locker, but it's not an actual diff locker. So basically the wheel that's spinning, it's going to apply the brakes to that wheel to give more power to the wheel that actually has traction. So I think that's definitely one advantage of the JK when it compared to the XJ. But yeah, right now we're going over a few rocks. You can see we got some more rocks coming up there ahead. Doing absolutely fine in two-wheel drive right now. Haven't had any issues, haven't been slipping anywhere. We've got a few more rocks coming up here ahead. Let me show you guys what those look like here. Going over them right now. We also got a nice cliff right there, so you know, if anything slips, anything happens, we're going right down. So yeah, we got a few more rocks coming up here. This trail right here is mostly just rocks until you get up to the more flatter area. Then it has a few more muddy sections as well. And we're also going to go to a different trail that has a lot more mud and less rocks than here. But yeah, we got another rocky section coming up right here. Show you guys what this looks like. Of course, no issues whatsoever. You guys can see we're going up this huge incline right here. Now we can show you guys what the rocks look like. It really doesn't come out on camera at all, but you know, they're really not too serious here, but it will be pretty interesting to see if we slip at all in two-wheel drive. See what it looks like right there. Yeah, so of course, no issues whatsoever again. I did feel like we were sliding a little bit off to the side there, but you know, obviously no issues. And once again, I do think that would have been easier in 4 low just because of how slow I was driving. So, you know, it's definitely an advantage of having 4 low. Of course, the XJ also does have 4 low to have that advantage as well. See, like I was saying, this trail is mostly just rocky. Got a few more rocks coming up right here, show you guys what it looks like. Yeah, so obviously nothing crazy there. Super easy for the Jeep to handle in two-wheel drive. No issues whatsoever. Now, one thing that I did want to point out about the XJ is that I don't know if it would be able to flex as much as this Jeep is able to, just because of how stiff the suspension is on the XJ. Of course, the suspension on this thing is completely stock, and I have a 3-inch lift on my XJ, but I do feel like this suspension is a lot more softer, so I feel like it has more travel maybe. So yeah, I think this Jeep can flex a little bit more, which definitely helps with traction when you go over these rocks right here. So we have another rock garden coming up right here. Gonna show you guys how it handles this thing. Now, I'm going to keep it in two-wheel drive, but you know, it probably would be better to have it in 4-low while going over a section like this, just because of the speeds that we're going to be traveling at. So we're going to be going slow and 2-high, which of course 4-low would give you more traction and, you know, better control over your speed. So let's go ahead and show you guys what this looks like. So I don't know if you guys could see or hear, but the engine was definitely lugging a little bit because I was driving so slow and 2-high. So, you know, it definitely would have been a lot better in 4-low, but, you know, I did want to test out how good this thing does in just two-wheel drive. All right, guys, so we've gotten to the next trail. It's more muddy than it is rocky. Let me show you guys around here. So we have this nice mud hole right here, which I've hit a few times in the past. And then if we walk down to this little side trail right here, I'll show you guys what we have down here. Now, unfortunately, there's a huge log blocking the huge mud hole that's over down there, but I'll walk down here and show you guys what we're looking at here. So a few years ago, whenever I came down here with my friends John and Robert, they actually hit this mud hole that I'm about to show you guys right here. And you can see like how deep the ruts are right here as well. And my friend Robert was in his early 90s Ranger, and he actually got through this hole, and then John had a stock Ram, I believe. So it's pretty easy for them to actually get through here. But he's flying, not even, God. Oh my God. But as you guys can see right here, there's these logs blocking the actual mud hole, which is down there. So now it says private property, so we actually can't go down there anymore. But yeah, just wanted to come down here and kind of show you guys the stuff that we used to do over here. There's also a pretty big mud hole on the other side that I wanted to show you guys, that actually nobody that I've been here with has actually gotten through that mud hole. So it's been undefeated now. I'm not going to be trying it with my parents' Jeep here, but it definitely would be cool to see somebody actually attempt it and actually get through this hole. So let me walk over there and show you guys what I'm talking about. The mud hole that I was talking about is actually the forest right over there off of the main road here. So I figured we could just, you know, drive through this hole right here, then show you guys what that one looks like over there. So obviously super easy for the Jeep, no issues whatsoever. It's not even super deep, but I think if you go farther left, then it does get a little bit more deeper. So we got a few more holes to go through here, and then the actual mud hole that I wanted to show you guys is kind of on the side here to the left. So we're gonna go through these right now, then I'm gonna show you guys the actual one. These holes right here aren't even that deep. They kind of look deep just because you can't really see the bottom, but they're mostly just gravel, I think. Yeah, it's mostly just gravel underneath, I think, from what I can tell. Yeah, they're not too deep. then right there is the hole that I was talking about. So we can stop right over here and show you guys. All right, guys, so this hole that I'm going to show you guys right here is actually the undefeated hole. So, you know, Robert and John both try this with the Ranger and Ram. And whenever John tried this with his Ram, you know, that truck is pretty heavy, a lot heavier than Robert's Ranger. So he actually got stuck in this hole, and, you know, he was in here for probably like 8 hours before we actually got him out. Oh my God. So, you know, we tried to pull him out with the Ranger. We tried to pull him out with that Jeep. We tried to hook up the Jeep and the Ranger to John's truck and try to pull him out, but we just couldn't get him to even move at all. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way this is happening. Oh my God. Holy. All right, so that didn't work. We're gonna hook the Jeep up to the Ranger to the Ram and see if that works at all. Called out like 2 or 3 other people to try to help us. Yeah, it's in there. After 8 hours of trying, we finally decided to just call a tow truck, and yeah, we got him out that way. But yeah, it was just super long process of trying to actually get him out here. Yeah, this is the hole right here. I'm actually not sure how deep it is. We could probably find a stick and try to put it down there and show you guys how deep it is maybe. So I want to say John with his Ram probably got up to maybe like right this point right here maybe. You can put a stick down here and see how deep it is. Yeah, so right there you can see maybe 1.5 feet, I would say. See how far down that stick goes. So it's definitely pretty deep, and I think the main reason that nobody has actually been able to make it through this hole right here is because of how deep the ruts are. They just got high centered on the middle part right here. So I think that's the main thing that prevented everybody from actually getting through this hole. So it would be really cool to actually see somebody attempt this hole and actually get through it, but unfortunately right now there's no trespassing signs here, so probably shouldn't be doing anything anymore, unfortunately. See right there, no trespassing. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of fun to actually attempt that hole. So I don't know if my XJ would have been able to do that or not, but it definitely would be cool to maybe attempt that. I don't think I would want to do that just because of how clean my XJ is, and you guys know my whole goal with my XJ is just to keep it clean and keep restoring it. So to be honest, even though it's built to do stuff like this, I don't think I would have tried to attempt that hole with my XJ, even though it would be cool to see if it could make it through. I do think with my Jeep, I would be at an advantage when comparing to, you know, the Ranger or the Ram, just because it weighs so little, you know, 3,400 pounds. Definitely less than the Ram. I'm not sure how much the Ranger weighs, but the Ranger was on stock all-season tires, and I have mud tires, and it's also lifted. So there would be a lot less risk of my Jeep getting high-centered on those ruts right there. And also with the mud tires, it would help a lot with traction as well. All right, guys, so we made it to the end of the trail here. As you can see, the trail ends pretty much right over there where it turns into gravel. So it was a whole bunch of fun taking the JK out today and kind of, you know, talking about how I think it would compare to the XJ. This is actually the same trail that I took my XJ on back when it was completely stock. So it was definitely a whole bunch of fun, you know, taking both Jeeps out here and seeing what this thing can do in 2-wheel drive. You know, we didn't have to use 4-wheel drive at all today. Now overall, I would say the JK Rubicon is probably a lot more capable stock for stock when you're comparing it to an XJ, but you can 100% build up an XJ to make it more capable than a Wrangler like this. You know, I do think that the XJ is a very good platform for off-roading, especially because it's so light. Like I said, it weighs about 3,400 pounds. I don't know exactly how much this thing weighs. I want to say about 4,600. So, you know, having that weight advantage is definitely a huge advantage for off-roading. So, you know, obviously stock for stock, I definitely have to give it to the Wrangler just because, you know, you'd expect a more modern Jeep to be more capable than a 2001 Jeep Cherokee. And that's just stock for stock. So, like I said, you can definitely make any Jeep better than this thing. You just have to, you know, actually build it up. So it definitely is possible with the XJ. And like I said, I do think it's a great platform for off-roading as well. So like I was saying, a whole bunch of fun taking this Jeep out and kind of showing you guys some of the areas that I've been to in the past, especially with Robert and John with their Ranger and Ram. I do think it would be cool to actually see somebody attempt that mud hole again and actually get through it. And I'll be honest with you guys, I have been thinking about getting a JL Wrangler for the channel. You know, but those things are pretty expensive. For a good deal right now, I'd be looking at maybe 30,000 for one that I would actually like. That would probably be like a 4-door, you know, under 100,000 miles probably. So I would say probably $30,000 is probably what I would be looking at for a good deal. So I also have been thinking about maybe getting a Wrangler TJ to also have it like my restoration project, like my XJ. So I definitely do think the TJ would go a lot better with the XJ, kind of just have like a little Jeep collection, I guess. But yeah, definitely let me know down in the comments if you guys would like to see a, you know, a JL or a TJ. I think either one would be really cool for the channel. So yeah guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys have anything to add about the JK or the XJ, definitely drop that down in the comments below. And if you guys have any questions or comments, also leave those down in the comment section below. And if you guys have any video suggestions for videos you would like to see in the future, also drop those down in the comment section below. And if you guys like this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.